It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with Trey, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. By Beechwood Hospitality, we partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. We start off with a big woo pig suey for Maria Jose Marin. She joins Stacy Lewis and Maria Fossey as individual champions of the NCAA Women's Golf Championship. In Maria's first round, she shot a 2 under 70, followed that up with an even par 72, and then over her final 36 holes of competition, on Sunday shot 65, 7 under par, no bogeys on her scorecard. Then on Monday in her final round, shoots a 3 under par 69 with 1 bogey. She had 1 bogey on her final 36 holes. She wins by 2 with a big birdie putt on 18. Here is Maria Jose Marin after the win.
It feels amazing. It was one of my goals, but it was like one of my long-term goals. I think I was going to achieve this maybe my, senior year, junior year. But to achieve it in my sophomore year, I think it's a big thing. And being the third racerback to do it in a while, it means a lot. I'm just super happy and super proud. I'm kind of wordless right now. I'm still wordless, even though it's been 2 hours since the round finished.
She adds to the legacy of champions at the University of Arkansas. Here is head coach Shauna Taylor on what it means to join that group.
To have 3 girls that have won the national title, the exposure that we get under the big lights, I think is important. But you also have a kid like both the Marias, who are just great representation of Razorback Nation, and they love Arkansas, and they are very prideful to be a part of our family. And that's all of those girls. That's what they dream of, is to have that putt on 18 for these opportunities in college golf. And and Maho drains that and is proud to do it. It's exciting to know that she's a part of our team.
Congratulations to Maria Jose Marin of the University of Arkansas, your 2025 individual NCAA Women's Champion. There was a big trophy handed out over the weekend also in Charlotte. Scottie Scheffler wins the PGA Championship by 5 shots over Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Riley Davis. Scottie opened his PGA Championship on Thursday with a 69, followed that up with a 68, and then a 65 on Saturday, and shoots an even par 71 to win at 11 under par. Here is Scottie Scheffler after winning his 3rd major.
How many guys are in the field this week? 156? You got to beat 155 guys if you want to be sitting up here. There's a lot of guys you got to beat, and I knew somebody was going to make a move today. There's too much talent in the game of golf right now for me to just be able to kind of slap the ball around today with a 3-shot lead, and 3 shots in 18 holes is really not that much. I gave that up, I think, in 9 holes today. But overall, I was proud of how I stepped up on the back 9 and hit the shots when I needed to. It was a big birdie I made on 10, hit really quality shots on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, really, and, was able to build up a lead and kind of play pretty conservative the last 3 holes, and 2 nice up and downs around 16, 17, and then I was able to kind of slap it around there on 18. I love coming out here and trying to compete and win golf tournaments, and that's what I'm focused on. And after this week, I'm going to go home and get ready for next week's tournament, and the show goes on. If I show up and miss a cut next week, I'm going to have to answer questions of what went wrong, and just start over again on Thursday. So that's one of the things that can be frustrating about our game, but that's also what's great about our game. If I had a tough day today and came in with a loss, I can step back up on the tee Thursday next week and have another chance to win a tournament. And it's an endless pursuit, and it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely one of the great joys of my life, being able to compete out here.
Coming up after the break, I sit down with longtime PGA head golf professional at Longhills Golf Club, Jeff Hamm. Jeff has dedicated his life to golf and the PGA of America. You'll hear his story after the break. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and see the best orthopedic care. No appointment is needed. Ortho Now, open Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. I'm back with more from the Shortgrass after this.
The next time you travel to El Dorado and need overnight accommodations, the Haywood Hotel is where you need to stay. The Haywood El Dorado Tapestry Collection by Hilton is a great place to stay if you're in South Arkansas, listening to live music or playing the challenging Mystic Creek Golf Club. Take time and relax in their bar for a drink before going out on the town for dinner. The Haywood, 210 South Washington, right in the heart of downtown El Dorado. Search the Haywood El Dorado on the web or call 800-293-0718 for reservations. The Haywood, a Beechwood hospitality property.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey Shapp. Jeff Hamm was born in Indiana, moved to Arkansas, and became the head golf professional at Longhills Golf Course. He's a longtime member of the PGA of America and has been inducted into the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame. He started one of the best junior golf programs the state has ever seen at Longhills. You'll hear more about that right now. On the tee, Jeff Hamm. Mr. Hamm, thanks for joining me on From the Shortgrass. Do you remember the first time you picked up a golf club and fell in love with the game?
I was probably 12 years old, and I used to hunt golf balls at the golf course that I came from in Indiana. And these guys would sit around the table and drink their coffee and tell their stories, and they always included me, so that just got me hooked, I guess. I was a baseball player.
You were a baseball player. Where in Indiana?
Logansport, Indiana.
Where is that located?
Straight north of Indianapolis, about 60 miles.
Okay.
I was born in Anderson, Indiana, which is about 30 miles from Indianapolis.
So how did you end up in Arkansas?
Well, I lost my job. I graduated from Purdue and got my degree, and I took over as superintendent of Dykeman Park, which was a municipal golf course there. There was an election coming up, and I didn't vote the right way. So they handed me my papers. And Bud Buskin had moved to Arkansas, and we were good friends. I came down here for vacation a couple times, and I said, heck, I'll just go down there. And I was supposed to go to work for GW at Hot Springs Country Club. So I went out there for about 2 weeks, and I just figured I can do better than this. So Bud came home one day, and I was living with Bud and Mary Jean.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Mr. Bill Martin is looking for an assistant golf professional. He said, I think you need to go talk to him.
Knowing Bud the way you did, it had to be easy for you to come down here because you two guys were so close.
Oh, yeah, we were always close. We're still partners, so to speak. We're just not in business together anymore.
Yeah.
We're just, Long Hills, when I started, Mr. Martin said, Ed, I like what I see. And he said, why don't you work here for 6 months? And if I don't get along with you or you don't get along with me, will part company friends. I left 40 years later.
Yeah. Seemed like you two guys got along pretty well.
Yeah, there were some rough times, which you do at any business, but we were able to buy it in '86.
Longhills Golf Club, man, what a junior golf program.
Yeah.
That's one thing that, Jeff, I've always heard about. I grew up at the Rebsman junior golf program, but I've heard so much about the Longhills golf program and how big it was. There's some pretty good players come through there as well.
You bet. I mean, when I started for Bill Martin, he told me one day, he said, I want you to take over. Now, this was March 12th when I started. And about a week later, he said, I want you to take over the junior program, which at the time had 12 or 13 kids in it. And he was big into juniors. And he said, I'm going to turn it over to you, see what you can do. And I was very fortunate. The first year, I think we had 50 kids. And Barry Howard and Bart Owens and Cliff Hayes were in my first junior golf programs. It wasn't Jeff Hamm that did it. It was a lot of other people that helped. I lived by the philosophy that Jerry Lewis has got his kids, and I got mine. And it's what I told the parents. We just hit it off, and, at one time we had over 520 kids in the summer program.
How did you keep them all sane and together, or how did you keep yourself sane and together?
Well, I'm pretty laid back. I just felt like those older guys that sat at the table at Dykeman Park many years before had not thrown me out, and they let me listen to them and made some good friends, and they kept me around. They just let me sit at the table and listen to all their lies.
I think of Jack O'Keefe, Austin Oaf, who are from that area, junior golf program as well. Speaking of Austin Oaf, Purdue Boilermaker.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Now the head coach of the Little Rock Trojans.
Glad to have him back.
You must have did something right there.
Well, I didn't do everything. Dan Snyder, I think, had a part in that. We charged 75 cents for 9 holes and $1.50 for all day. And we had a lot of kids stay out there all day.
They could play all day.
All day.
Sun up, sun down.
5 days a week. On the weekends, we got to the point where it got so large that we said, okay, I don't remember if it was after 2 o'clock or after 3 o'clock, they could come out, get the same rates, and play.
You made it affordable, though.
Well, yes, because, that's what kids are all about. And I've never charged a junior for a golf lesson, and I never will. I'll charge the moms and dads.
Yeah, if they want to sit and watch and say, okay, now let me step in there, son. I want to get a little lesson.
No, they can sit back and listen, but they know, and I told them every year we'd have one day in May before the program actually got started, and I drew a line across the back of the practice range. And all the new ones had to attend 3 clinics before they were allowed in the program. I encouraged the parents to come along. They had to fill out a form and sign a deal and waiver and all that stuff. And I'd tell them, when the kids are out here, they're no longer yours. They're ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd tell them, Jerry Lewis has got his kids and I got mine, and these are mine.
And I think, too, Jeff, the fact that Longhills was relatively flat was an easy course for the kids to walk.
Sure. We started out with 6 holes. We had a 3-hole, a 6-hole, and a 9-hole division. And when it started out, we had a 6-hole, a 9-hole, and an 18-hole. I forgot the 18-hole before. Bud and I built the 3 practice holes there by the road, and that became our 3-hole course. And that's where the young ones played. And we allowed them 8 through 17 to play, and then encouraged once you're past 17, now you got to come help with the 8-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep them in line.
Yep.
So they played 1 through 6, and the 9-hole and an 18-hole division, and then at the end of the summer we'd have a big 2-day tournament.
When you joined the PGA of America, what did that mean to you?
Everything. I get sentimental about it. And, I joined the PGA in 1976, shortly after I started at Longhills. And I was a PGA apprentice at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became a PGA member in 1979 because you had to wait the 3 years. There was none of this shortcut. And in 18 months, you had to go for 3 years before you could get your membership. You were still an apprentice, but you didn't have the A in front of your name.
Right.
So that was, and I just learned to love it. I learned to love the rules of golf because I'm a stickler for rules. And I tell people, I don't like liars, cheaters, and thieves. And if you've fit into one of those categories, you can't play golf, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just the PGA, and with all they've allowed me to do, with going through the apprentice chairs and the chapter chairs and the section chairs and the national board of directors, it's all been fantastic. And I tell them, I just bleed PGA blue. That's it.
I see it all the time. You've got it on today, and I think that obviously when you put in as much as you have, that you wear it with pride.
I have a lot of pride in the PGA logo.
Yeah.
And the PGA of America.
Golf back in the early 80s, Jack, Tiger, Nick Faldo, Greg Norman, and then in the mid-90s, here comes Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
What was that time like for a PGA professional?
Well, it was a little bit tough. If you remember, I had an interview with you at Southern Hills in the PGA Championship back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling you that I really didn't appreciate Tiger Woods because of his attitude and the things he said and the way he said them. And I meant that. And he lapped the field that year. He beat the crap out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But, other than that, it's been a good ride. And it's just been a lot of fun. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't a lot of fun. That was an era, and Arnold Palmer is my idol, and always has been. And Jack came along, and I learned to like Jack. And now I like Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
I think his attitude's changed, and he's a great ambassador. And he learned how to handle it, which everybody does, regardless of what you're doing.
Sometimes it just takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. And you got to grow up, so to speak.
You were in the PGA of America, the chapter here in Arkansas, and you've seen some of your former students become PGA Tour members, and one of them, Barry Howard, has almost reached the top of the top with the PGA of America. You have to be pretty proud of that.
I'm very proud of him. He's like a son to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in my very first junior golf program, and I was very fortunate to have him. At that time, I don't think he had anybody else other than his mother. And he kind of picked me to help him out, so to speak. So I hope I've done a good job. He's one of the best, if not the best, PGA professional in the state of Arkansas.
I like talking to him about for those that don't know, the PGA of America plays the state amateurs in October at Hot Springs Country Club, where he's the general manager, the PGA Professional down there. And I've always joked with him about that record between the AMs and the pros. And his response, Mr. Hamm, is, us PGA pros are pretty good teachers, aren't we?
I can agree with that. We don't play the game. We did play the game, or we couldn't have gotten in business. But on the amateur side, which you're on that side, plays a lot more than we do. And it's a credit to us, and I'll say that, to allow us to help the amateur side and be on their side also. That's what's game's all about.
Is that a fun weekend, though?
Oh, I love it when I could play.
Yeah.
And I was captain a couple times.
Well, you've been down there almost every year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still starting, and I don't do much rules anymore, but I still enjoy starting.
What does it mean to you to be in the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame?
Everything. It's an honor that I'd be thought in that way. I don't know that I deserve it or didn't deserve it in 2008, but it was an honor. It is an honor. And also the section after that.
Yeah.
You can't take it away from me, and I'm super proud of it.
Best golf course you've ever played, what is it?
Well, Alotian or Shadow Creek. Shadow Creek, we went out there for a meeting one year, and we were there to play, and I got Michael Jordan's locker.
Oh, wow.
So there was a jersey hanging in there.
How warm was it out there?
It was nice. It was nice. It was November, but November in Nevada is not bad.
Perfect. It's not the heat of summer.
Alotian, just a different experience. I've played a lot nice golf courses, but I'll never forget Dan. We pulled up to, I don't know what hole it was, but the story behind it was he invited me 3 times to come in and have lunch and play golf.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ziske was alive, the first 3 times, he called me and he said, "Jeff, hate to tell you this.
Something's come up.
But Dan's got to go out and be with Glenn." I said, "Okay." He said, "So you're in and you're out." I said, "Okay." Well, it happened 3 times. Finally, Snyder called me up and he says, "This is for real. I want you to come out and have lunch." So I waited for the phone call. Never got it. And came through the gate, pulled up, and was treated royally.
It was for real.
And it was for real. We pulled up on one hole, and there was a Coke cooler sitting there full of beer. I said, "What's this?" He said, "Get your beer." I said, "Nah, it's okay." He said, "No, get your beer." I said, "Who do I pay?" He said, "Pay? You're not going to pay anything. Mr. Stevens is not going to take your money.
Yeah.
He's got enough of it, so he doesn't need yours. He just wants to enjoy yourself."
And that's what you do out there. It's such a fantastic place.
It is a place. It's a great place.
I might know the answer to this question. Fantasy foursome, living or deceased, you and 3 others that you would like to play around a golf with.
Arnold Palmer.
I knew he was going to be on there.
He's number 1.
Yep.
Now Tiger Woods and Lee Trevino.
How about that? Yeah. The Merry Mex. The stories between Tiger, Lee, and the King.
Yeah.
Jeff, I'd sit back and I'd just listen.
Yeah. I've been able to sit across. I've never sat across the table with Tiger, but Mr. Palmer and I got to know each other a little bit, and he always admired the junior golf program. He'd heard about it sometime, and he'd always sign stuff at Southern Hills. And the one year that I was an officer, I think I was secretary that year of the section, and Rick Knuckles said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "The only thing I want to do, Rick, is announce Mr. Palmer at the first tee. That's all I want." So I had sent Mr. Palmer a letter about 3 or 4 weeks before. And in 2 weeks, I got a letter back. He'd signed it. It wasn't a typewritten letter. It was a
handwritten letter.
And so I get the radio call that Mr. Palmer's headed to the first tee. And so I go over there, and I'm standing inside the ropes on the tee box, and the rope's still up. Mr. Palmer comes up with Tom Watson, but they dropped the rope. I went over to him. I reached out my hand. I said, "Mr. Palmer." He said, "Jeff Hamm." I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me.
He remembered you.
He remembered me, and he said, "When am I up?" or something like that. I said, "You're first."
Time to peg it.
If you want to go any further place, you can. But you're number one, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't say buddy. But I just announced him as his 37th and final PGA championship. And, I'd like to honor all of you to honor Mr. Arnold Palmer, the King. So he hit it, down the fairway, and he came back and put his arm around me, and he said, "Jeff, that's one of the nicest things that was ever done to me."
Oh, wow.
Now, whether he was telling the truth or not,
he made you feel good.
He made me feel real good.
That's awesome.
I was on top of the world.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, I can't thank you enough for spending some time and coming to the studio today, and thanks for all you've done for the game of golf and for me in the game of golf.
It's my honor. Believe me. The game's been good to me. The people in Arkansas have been good to me. And the PGA's been good to me.
An old Hoosier move to Arkansas.
Yeah. That's my fault. But I'm glad I did it.
We're glad you did too, Jeff. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
From Central Arkansas to South Arkansas to Northeast Arkansas, across the state to Northwest Arkansas, you will find a Beechwood hospitality property. From the Haywood in El Dorado to the Hilton Garden in Jonesboro to the Doubletree in Bentonville and the Staybridge Suites just south of Baumwalker Stadium, Beechwood Hospitality has a room for you. Beechwood Hospitality is the leader in hotel property management in the state. Make sure you find a Beechwood Hospitality hotel for your next overnight stay.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
That's all the time for this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. Real quick, I want to thank Matthew Allen and Blair Allen, Beechwood Hospitality. When you need an overnight place to stay, make sure you're staying at a Beechwood Hospitality hotel. You can find them all over the great state of Arkansas. Don't forget, if you missed any episodes of From the Shortgrass, you can find them anywhere you get your podcast. All you have to do is search From the Shortgrass. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Shortgrass.
You have been listening to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.